Good afternoon, Mr. Eric Walker, like Ann Sieg says. It's very fun to be here in Minneapolis this weekend and see my good friend Eric. We've been buds for a few years, and I have a few questions for him this afternoon. Eric is our main man with regards to copywriting and email marketing and all things pertaining to content. And I would just like to ask him a few questions this afternoon, and thank you for your time.
I'm really glad to be here with you. And
good.
It'll be fun.
Good. All right. Tell me how blogging and email marketing work hand in glove.
Blogging and email marketing work hand in glove because oftentimes you can feed two birds with one seed. So when you create a blog post, that blog post can be used in your email marketing sequence. And oftentimes, especially for smart beginners, I do recommend this method of just thinking through how do you want to communicate to your perfect audience. You know, if they're starting at point A and you want to take them to point B, which is usually a purchasing decision, what would you write? What would you communicate? And you can, by all means, create that content and put it on your blog. Just publish it to your blog, because oftentimes that is like pillar content, or what I like to call 101 content. It's the stuff that is evergreen, that it's kind of the pillars that hold up your blog, and it's the thing that you're all about. And it should be within, it should be in alignment with what you sell. So blogging is a fire that always has to be fed. But email marketing is such that you can create a remarkable sequence of communication, and you can just use it over and over and over again. So especially for those smart beginners just getting started, I say, and they want to have a blog too, I say just write that communication, that remarkable sequence of communication once, publish it to your blog, and then when in your emails, just have a short little pithy description or summary about what the email is going to be about, and then go ahead and have them click the link, and then they'll go to your blog and they'll read it. And it serves just the same purpose as an email. In fact, oftentimes it can be better because you can get comments, and then and you can get shares, and that will help with social proof. Again, especially if you're a smart beginner and you're just getting started and you want to get a little traction and a little notoriety with your blog.
Right. And the other thing I think I can see with that is when you do that well in your email sequence and your action step is go to the blog, they have the sense that they're not being sold to all the time directly. They're taking an action step. They're being engaged or responsive. And so your list is, so you have some kind of a list that is really looking forward to your emails and ready to take action with them because they know they're going to someplace safe to take.
Absolutely, and I think it also helps with credibility.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this guy's trusted. He's got a website, and it looks pretty good. He's got a lot of content here.
Good. Good. Well, that's a great help with that. Thank you for that answer. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, when writing blog posts, sometimes it's, we write from all sorts of angles in terms of we're teaching somebody or we're giving tips or we're sometimes, getting downright personal. I mean, obviously in a appropriate way, but you want to be authentic. So tell me what the value is in being vulnerable in your blog post in terms of engaging with your list.
The benefits of being vulnerable, well, I think I want to have a couple caveats here.
What's the impact with that?
The impact, and first of all, the caveat is I think that it's important, I like, as a personal statement, vulnerability done well, because there's also vulnerability not done so well.
Yeah.
And that's a really higher level kind of discernment. I think it takes a certain amount of emotional maturity to really understand what vulnerability done well and vulnerability not done well is. So I think it's really good to first ask that question. Also, how will this help my perfect audience? I think there should always be an element of how is it useful? So, vulnerability just for the sake of like airing your dirty laundry is not going to have much impact.
No.
But vulnerability in terms of this might help my perfect audience be useful in some kind of way, even if it's not directly correlated to business, but maybe it's mindset.
Exactly.
I think in this day and age, because we have access to all the tools of the internet and spreading our ideas so prolifically, that a lot of people are writing from that vulnerable place. A lot of people are opening themselves up and sharing some things that are, personal to a certain extent and also very helpful to their audience. I think that has a big impact towards so people get to know you and they get to like you and they get to trust you. And then when it does come to making a decision about making a purchase, they're a little bit more likely to make that purchase because they say, oh, hey, I've learned a lot about this person. Maybe I know what their kids look like, or I know that they went through this really rough divorce, or I know that they were on the brink of quitting and they were at the bottom, and that just kind of helps them keep going with their ongoing narrative, and they don't feel like, oh, I'm just being sold to. They feel like, okay, this is a real human being, and these are all the dimensions, the human dimensions.
Yeah.
I always say that human business works.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian. We're just recording here, but so.
Hi. Come on in.
I guess in a nutshell, the reason why I think vulnerability is good because it's part of a human business, and it's more well-rounded, and it shows a lot of the different dimensions of a real person, and I think that that's attractive.
Right. And I think so you're revealing yourself as a real person, someone that they can connect to on that personal level, as we said, appropriately. So. Yeah,
and one thing I've said, kind of my buzz statements over the weekend here at the live event is, one, authenticity is experiencing truth. And, authenticity is a form of being vulnerable. So authenticity is experiencing truth, and truth, or conveying truth, is making meaning, and making meaning in and of itself is what marketing is.
Yeah.
So it's all part of the big equation of being successful in this day and age online.
Yeah, because there's, and that's a very good reminder, because we do want to be very authentic in our marketing, and that's what we all strive to do. So what counsel then would you give to the new blogger? And you've sort of already spoken to that in our first two questions, but to dispel the fear of writing in writer's block, can you speak to that?
Well, I don't think anyone has a hard time talking.
No,
so
that's right.
I feel like you talk every single day. We talk every single day, and we're always practicing our talking. We talk every day. So my suggestion is write like you talk, especially for blogging. It's in its earliest inception, blogging is really just journaling. And so I don't think that there's really anything different with blogging now. I mean, it's evolved, and it's become this big business. But writing in general is just like talking.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a practice. We practice talking every single day, and to become a better writer, to become a better blogger, you just simply write every day.
Yeah.
Also, there's so many tools out there. If you do have a hard time with actually sitting down and writing, and you find that that's a muscle that's just atrophied, then go with what your strength is. It could be getting in front of video and speaking and having that transcribed.
Yeah.
It could be any number of transcription services. It could be doing audios. Like, for example, we're having this conversation, this interview right now, and you could have this transcribed. And there could be like 3 different articles that come out of this, and you could get the transcription, and then you could read it through, and maybe you might make a few edits or a few changes. So I think that can help people who even think that they're terrible at writing find a way to have access to publishing their writing online and being a blogger in that sense. It's not necessarily all the laborious work of sitting down and typing. But in general, I think in order to be a better writer, you just have to sit down and write and do the work and do the practice.
Yeah. And just to add to that a little bit, or a comment to that, I've heard a couple of people mention that if you have a real good image of who your ideal client is and have that person in front of you, a couple of girls here have mentioned they've got an actual image behind the monitor, and so when they're writing, they pretend they're having a conversation, or and so that they are talking to their ideal client as they write.
Write to one person. That is a very good reminder, Pat. I think that's really, really important. Always just write to one person.
Yeah.
Don't try to talk to a lot of different people. Just always have that imaginary person in your head and always write to just one person. And I think you'll find that it's akin to sitting across like this, like if we're having a cup of coffee and just talking amongst one another. It's not any different than that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, those are three very good comments for the person who wants to get online and do some blogging and do some meaningful work with that. So I really thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that a lot.
I want to say, too, those of you who are watching this, Pat Campbell, PatLeeCampbell.com, love her stuff, been friends with her, oh man, since like 2008, I think we go back that far.
Yeah,
I have
from
so
the
much
beginning, yeah.
trust and appreciation for Pat. She's done a lot for me professionally and personally. She's so supportive, and I know that she can help you with whatever it is that you're trying to do too. So I want to put a plug in for you.
Hey, thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's a great weekend. It's really good to be here among friends, and particularly Eric. And so just continue to read the post here, and at the bottom you'll see a call to action, so I'll look for your takeaway on that. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.